Good afternoon, speed racing fans, and welcome to yet another exciting race of our Super Metroid and Link to the Past combo randomizer tournament brought to you by Rank1.global. Today we are going to see a face-off between bressinghamvoigt and Dragondarch for the privilege to face against Asder in the coming round. And joining me on the mic this afternoon is All Cheese No Sauce. How are we doing?
Good afternoon. We are doing very well and very excited to see this match between two insanely good competitors who both had upsets in the previous round to get here and have been just torching their way through the final stage of this bracket. So this is not going to be an easy match for either player.
No, absolutely not. Bressinghamvoigt, this is no strange scene for him. But Dragondarch's just come out of nowhere, and they have taken a win after win after win. They've beaten Supin and Taylor. They have beaten Maximum Barnage. They are going to face some stiff competition today.
Yeah, Dragondarch is he's really big in like the speed gaming like randomizer community, but not specifically SMZ3. Like he's been doing speed running stuff for like 14 years, according to his page, which you should follow, as well as bressinghamvoigt. You should follow both of them. But yeah, he's really good, and but really a pleasant surprise in terms of how well he's been doing in SMZ3.
Looks like our runners are getting underway here, and we'll hope to see a fairly kind seed for them today. Got some real troll ones in the past week or so. And of course, the usual expected play, Dragondarch taking the dip into Link to the Past, where most of your items are going to be. Because in normal logic, the only thing you can check on this side of the door is a Morph Ball pedestal. And our first check, we see bombs. And silvers on the Lake Island. What are the chances you think we pick those up in a little bit?
I think both runners, upon seeing that, are going to be prepared to do a silverless Ganon. I think no one picks up the lake item if it's not just fully right there.
All right, both of our runners giving us a map check. They have a 3 crystal light world with a 5/6 on Eastern Palace, so we know that our dark world's going to hold 3 pendants, and the question is, which 3? Dragondarch setting up for the Houlihan play, going to get a little extra money before they go make their Kakariko checks. Bressingham is headed into the Uncle checks early on here. And just a lot of energy from Uncle today.
Double E-tanks.
Now keep track of those power bomb packs. Our runners are going to want to see at least 3 throughout their run for Crystal Flash, for easy navigation through the Brinstar loop. And if you don't see an Ice Beam at any point, you'll need 3 power bombs each for every group of Metroids you face in Torian later on. All right, the route divergence continues. Bressingham is going to check the forest items, and Dragondarch going to visit our old friend Sarachala.
Yeah, this is something I've noticed with both runners have sort of made a little bit of a name for themselves in this tournament with some funky routing, and checking Sahasrara this early, really interesting play from Dragondarch, and we'll see if it.
Well, if nothing else, that bottle is going to make it a little bit more efficient to go through Kakariko.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm honestly a little surprised he didn't do just the first few checks of Eastern, but I understand. Without a weapon, it's still, and you're hoping to see something that'll maybe help you get there faster later on.
The dream, I think, would be if you can route Pod into Eastern, both being crystals, you do it. But if your progression's in the front of Eastern, you won't see it until you check. That could be any time. Dragondarch is going to give us a look at that Lumberjack Ledge item, and we'll see if we need to go visit the Geometry Wizard. That's a Plasma Beam.
I do not foresee our runners getting that, and so plasma, no silver arrows really, or at least they're both very out of the way. It's going to be at least a little bit of a difficult seed for.
Yeah, it looks right now that the top-end offense for both games is probably going to stay sitting right where it is. We saw Bressingham, he found a first sword in Blind's Hut. And so the front of escape is now a much more comfortable option for our runners once they pick that up. And the well having rupees, more missiles, and another power bomb pack. That's 2 of those, but still no use until you see a morph ball.
And the item vendor with a just small ripoff, just return on your investment of only 50%, not quite.
So if we miss the early check at the beginning of this race, the Silver Arrows are chilling on Lake Hylia Island, blocked by flippers and a mirror. And, of course, the obvious Dark World access.
Ooh, and the magic powder on the library. That hopefully that does not come back into play, but that could be pretty trolly if there's a boot hunt and some items on the magic.
You know, magic powder, a nice safety. The only thing that would really bother is if that is something that's gating your progression. You don't know if you need to pick that up or not. You can fake powder if you see a cane of Samaria and a mushroom.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things with Cane of Samar.
Everyone's favorite glitch stick. Alright, looks like Bressingham going to go ahead and avoid the dam for a moment and catch Mini Moldworm Cave instead. Good density play. 5 checks in here. If you remember to talk to the NPC in the middle, they will give you an item. Dragondarch with that early bottle gets to tell us what Sick Kid's holding for us today. Yet more energy. Speaking of moon pearls, and a fire rod from the NPC.
All in all, that is not a bad Mini Moldorm Cave. Neither of those really do anything, although actually the fire rod does put the back of escape into logic, if I'm not mistaken, because you can light the torches.
Well, the Link to the Past logic would do that. In SMZ3, it's still going to expect you to have a lamp to go through dark passages.
Oh, okay, right.
And that's a speed booster. That's not really a good sign for the number of different things that can actually open up for you to check in Super Metroid. Seen the Morph Ball in Big Pink before. Ooh. Let's hope it's not that much of a troll for our runners today. Well, here's the back of escape in logic with that glove. No matter what we do in the castle, we can access those 3 items.
And we're just a hammer away or a glove away from Dark World access at this point.
Alright, Bressingham's gonna see one single solitary green rupee laying out on the desert ledge. It's a penny shining in the light. Nope, we don't grab that. Dragondarch is about to be pleasantly surprised by a speed booster. We see the early Agena check here as well. It's our old sage friend got for us today. Just a little piece of heart. Right, that glove does give us some options both in and out of logic here. It puts Zora in logic. Not something we want to think about yet. No, we haven't seen Ice Rod Cave yet. I wouldn't be surprised if Dragondarch makes his way all the way that direction after he gets his items out of Mini Moldorm. We are seeing 3 items in the back of Escape, however. We see the key, some bombs, and the Harry's our morph ball.
Oh, wow. So early morph, early speed booster. This could be a pretty fun seed going on. And we've already got 2 power bombs, which is pretty nice as well.
Speed booster, 10 power bombs. You're going to be able to move around quite a bit in Super Metroid. See if Dragondarch decides to go all the way to Ice Rod Cave. It does look like he's going to make that check for us here.
And just missiles in Dark Cross.
Dragondarch with the Ice Rod Cave check. That is a blue cane, the Key to Burna. One of our few safety items. Now, we've got enough pointers to say that our next progression item is probably in Super Metroid, and presently we've got Bressingham going and checking out Sarashala's closet, and Dragondarch opting to do the fake flipper checks.
Yeah, I'm surprised Dragondarch didn't at least wait until he finished farming the rest of the rupees to check Zora, because that is in logic. This waterfall cave, which can be done with the Moon Pearl, is not in logic. As we see, there's just some ammo.
Yeah, we know of at least 2 power bomb packs thus far. And Dragondarch going to go check the hobo location underneath the bridge there. We're getting our Eastern play from Bressingham. 3 items to find in this dungeon. What do you think of checking this knowing you can do so much in Super Metroid right now with 2 power bomb packs in hand?
Well, I think I'll probably eat my words, because the moment I say something, he's gonna get some really invaluable. He's gonna get the bow or something, and it's gonna immediately unlock gravity or something. Oh no, just missiles. But my general thought is this looks like you should probably just jump into Super Metroid. You can complete Bryn Loop even though you only have 10 power bombs. The speed booster, if you're skilled enough to do things like Speedball, it eliminates 1 or 2 uses of power bombs. So even with 10 power bombs, it still is slightly more comfortable.
And Dragondarch about to pick up his Morph Ball. We'll see if he makes the play to jump into Super Metroid or not. Looks like he has other things he wants to do. We still have the front of Escape to look at, and that is what he's going to give us. So, unfortunately, the little stream hiccup on Bressingham's side picks up the item. We don't know what it was, but I can assume it was probably the map since he's going into... yes, Ikir, our tracker, thank you very much, letting us know it was the map. I don't see any other reason to go this direction unless you know... that you have an item both here and on the Armos Knights.
Yeah, and just quickly, great job on the great eye and great job on the tracking so far, Ikir. Everyone give Ikir some thanks. Maybe consider giving him a follow as well.
Oh, unfortunately, the V-Boost strat not working out for Bressingham. He's going to have to get a couple hearts and try this again. And just bombs in the big key chest. So we have an item on Armos Knights, and we won't be able to get them until about. Not really a bad start. 3 E-tanks, 40 missiles, 5 supers, 10 power bombs. Not great by any means, but certainly enough to start doing business. We see Bressingham getting his gauntlet play out of the way. With the speed booster, this is in logic. So we can see some... That was a waiver that just disappeared. I knew those bombs were good. I didn't think they were that good. We have Pegasus boots.
Oh, that is a really nice item. And I guess if we do have to complete Aga, it means that it's not that hard to get the plasma beam. Not that I think our runners will wind up. Oh, and they can get their magic powder from the library.
That they can. We see another super missile pack, and that's a good... That's going to be a sigh of relief coming from Bressingham. Moving along with not a lot of ammo is not exactly the most comfortable way of rolling the game. So we're going to see Dragondarch climb the mountain here out of logic. Of course, the game's looking for you to have a lamp here. Most of our runners, I would imagine, at this stage in the tournament, pretty much have this in the dark figured out.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy dark room, especially if you've got a sword. And honestly, even though the old man check isn't in logic, like everything else immediately is in logic on this mountain. Like being here is physically in logic, should I say? Ooh, the spring ball. Because of the morph ball just unlocking this area. So this is, even though it's a quote-unquote sequence break, it really, like, the game expects you to be able to be here at this point in time.
So while we saw the best Super Metroid item on Dragondarch's screen, did you happen to catch what was boinging underneath the ridge there? That's a hook shot.
Oh man! All right. Well, looks like it's gonna pay for Bressingham to wait and do Death Mountain a little bit later, because now with the hook shot, we'll be able to do those East Death Mountain checks and potentially even hookshot cave if they find a second set of.
And we see our first coin, the Ring of Fire of Bombos here. Not sure if we'll need that or not. It could be required for Ice Palace. It could be an entry for Misery Mire or Turtle Rock. Once we have Dark World access, we will know a little bit more. And we've got SpeedGaming 3 coming in with a party of 80. Welcome aboard to another SMZ3 tournament match between Bressinghamvoigt and Dragondarch. Nice spark through that room by Dragondarch. I like that one. The real trick is to not skip the Spazer location, though.
Didn't quite get the wall jump there. Oh my goodness, we already have our Dark World access with the hammer at the Spazer.
That's also putting Tower of Hera into logic between our two runners, as we already know where the hookshot is. And that's our first shield. Bressingham falling into that one.
It's interesting with such like diversity in the items, like where they were found, we might see a lot of route divergence. Like it might be a while until these players converge on similar locations.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right now, both intended routes by these runners have paid off in completely different ways. The real thing I would want to worry about is if one finds a suit on their path, because that'll give them a slight edge.
I mean, it could be an edge, but it also, like, there are plenty of seeds where you get that suit and you think there's going to be progression in Metroid, and you just go through it and there's just really nothing. Bupkis, as they say.
Alright, Kraid unfortunately says no thanks to the quick kill. So we'll get to see him take a stand here against Dragondarch's offensive. And Bressingham's getting our magic cape out of logic behind the wave gate glitch.
Honestly, that's really good to see, because that means, you know, it's an item that puts Aga in logic and bumper caves, and it means it's probably going to be remain out of logic unless they find that one item, the wave beam, and so.
One of the benefits of having the early speed booster here is that Bressingham is going to go ahead and take care of our waterway check while he's going through the rune loop. Alright, so from Kraid we had bombs at the Varia location and another power bomb pack. It's nice to see here. No longer worried about getting caught behind some bomb obstacles as we go through. And especially not worried with the spring ball. Alright, Dragondarch is, gonna get bodied by some sky cabbages. Opts to come back and take a refill. And you'd have to think he's going back up to see what's on Spectacle Rock here. Alright, Bressingham closing out his Bryn loop with a visit to Retro Brinstar. We see a blue rupee, we see missiles, we see a charge beam on Spectacle Rock. And our Dark World map check. Looks like our pendants are going to be Swamp Palace, Skull Woods, and Turtle Rock with a 5/6 in Thieves Town.
And we got the screw attack at the first missile location.
That's a nice, comfortable move around item, too.
It'll also save yet another power bomb, precious power bomb, to check the old Mother Brain location. So that actually works out very well for Bressingham's round.
Dragondarch with a really nice 4-heart spike cave with that Cane of Burna, and unfortunately it only pays out with a pack of power bomb. But that is a gutsy call. Getting that isolated check out of the way early while you're up here. Definitely like that play.
Oh yeah, actually, and it saves you that power bomb to get out of the Billy Maze Room area. So really, this screw attack super fortunate for the power bombs, because it's going to let Bressingham get that item from climb supers without really having to farm anything. Just enough power bomb.
Yeah, the only thing he's not going to be able to do if he does the climb super check will be the last missile location until he gets either a power bomb or goes back to the ship to refill. And that cave, I don't know if that cave is the word we're looking for here. It does look like Bressingham's going to give the climb supers a pass for the moment.
Oh, maybe he was actually he was farming some energy for the Shine Spark. It looks like.
Just missing it barely there. And yeah, this low on energy is probably not... I would scout this item before I spark up to it, because you're dead.
Yeah, he's not going to be...
And I think he is realizing that now. That's really unfortunate, too, for Bressingham. That is an item usually... If I'm that low on energy, I would scout it. I'd probably scout it either way. But those spikes in the room next to us are going to do 60 damage a pop. And that unfortunately means Bressingham is now at the top of his Brinstar loop with all that information. He's going to have to go right back through it. That's a lot of really good items that we are going to have to collect again. We have the Pegasus boots here, we have the hook shot, we had our ice beam, we have the screw attack. This is at least a 10-minute time loss.
It is not ideal. And I mean, even as good of a caliber runner as Bressingham is, like, you'd be surprised how many runners just do that climb supers and then are just completely forget about the spikes that are there afterwards and are like, all right, I have just enough energy, and then they don't.
And we see a magic boomerang under the shovel spot. It's another one of our stun items that we can take advantage of. Alright, it'd be interesting to see if he goes down to collect anything specific out of Brinstar here, or if he starts from the top and works his way back. Dragondarch, they're going to the village of outcasts. And West Dark World has a lot for us to look at here.
And thankfully, Bressingham has not picked up the SM bombs yet, so it doesn't have to fight Bomb Terizo, the hardest boss in the game.
Interestingly, Dragondarch opting not to take a dip into Skull Woods at this time. Instead, he is going straight to the east to have a look at what's on our bumper ledge. And we see that it's just 10 arrows. So that cape is not required. And it was mentioned earlier, but this Force of Habit Mock Ball, even if you have Speed Booster, you're probably going to do that more often than not. There's our Spazer Beam being collected once again. Didn't really mention that the first time around. Knowing where Plasma is, our runners are probably going to want to see Spazer at some point during our run, and Bressingham having it early. Nice little offensive boost. Oh, just misses the jump back up those crumble blocks, though. Alright, so far we're not seeing too much out of Village of Outcasts, so it does look like... Where are you going, Dragondarch? He's going to Skullwood.
I think this makes sense. Like, it's, even though it's a pendant, like, there's always seems like there's some items in there, and the early Fire Rod feels like a good, like, you can clear it all out really quickly, and it might be an indicator.
That Fire Rod could be telling us, hey, you have an item that you might need in the back of Skull Woods, and that looks like he is going straight that direction. You do have to watch out for those Wall Masters, and of course the Gibdos with no males to protect us. That is going to be 2 hearts of damage every time they give you a HUD.
Oh, one of the rare uses of the magic boomerang is actually they can stun those Gibdos, which actually makes that a little bit more efficient.
Now Dragondarch can pop open this crack of the wall here, and there is a full magic canister behind it. That's going to be a comfortable little safety with the Fire Rod in hand. We see our first of the many dungeon keys here in Skullwoods that you don't necessarily need to finish.
No, there are only 2 items here, right? Or there are 3 items?
There are 2 items in Skullwoods.
Okay, that's what I thought. I don't know why I had 3 in my mind for some.
And interestingly enough, he is saying nope to checking anything else.
Interesting. This is it's not the most thorough thing. I know there are a lot more runners who, once they set off to check an area, are going to check an area, and I guess Dragon might not be one of those players, but it might pay off. It might not. That's part of the game. So
See, that mugging gremlin giving Dragondarch a hard time opening up Thieves Town. Now, Bressingham is currently farming for supers. As you know, he found 1 super pack at the back of the gauntlet area, but when he reset, he only went back for the boots and just came back out the front. So he's only working on 5 super missiles right now. We don't know whether or not we're going to see any good use out of this cape, knowing that it's not blocking an item and Ag is basically not needed. But he doesn't know that. We see our second shield at the ambush chest. And right back into blue Bryn here. Going to see once again, picking up our screw attack to make things a little bit easier. The added benefit of knowledge is, even with just 3 power bombs, knowing that you're going to pick up screw attack here means that Bressingham doesn't have to worry about that climb supers item anymore. He already knows that it's not worth dying over 20 root. Instead of going back up and around, it does appear he's going to opt right down, and you do have to kill these, but now, with the screw attack, kill what?
And that was also a silky smooth speed ball, the mock ball with the speed booster to save him some power.
It is a beautiful sight to see a well-executed speedball. So, while Bressingham makes his way down, we're going to see the attic at Thieves Town with 1 check up here, and of course the bombable floor to make Blind show her true colors. Alright, Bressingham is about to find his hammer. He will be happy to see it, I'm sure. And I think we can expect him to go ahead and clear all of the mountain since he has the hookshot.
I think that seems like the logical play. Like, you're right there.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's going to be the only direction he can go, and as right now, he's out of supers. The Cack Attack will drop 1. Alright, Dragondarch walking a dangerous path here with just half a heart in the basement of Thieves Town. These red Zazzix will absolutely wreck your day with a fireball, just like that. Completely missed him though, thankfully. Here's our chest key, so we're going to see an item in the big chest likely here. And just another pack of power bombs. Now, Bressingham going into this great fight has no supers, no power bombs. But we know we're going to see bombs behind Kraid. Alright, Dragondarch has his blue cane out, and our pun of the day is... something, something... Oh, I had the sinking feeling about that one.
And Bressingham with the sweet quick kill as well. Saves a little bit of much need.
And he gets 2 power bombs off of Kraid, so he'll be able to check the Kraid missile item on his way out, plus the bombs to get out without having to worry about your power bomb count. But we do see our first crystal at 39 minutes and change on Dragondarch's side, with Blind taken down with that cane.
Yeah, another thing worth mentioning is with Thieves Town done, and with that bow, even though you kind of want the mirror so you can route in Pod and Eastern like efficiently, it looks like Dragondarch actually, yeah, he's headed right to Eastern, because if you complete that, those are the 5-6 crystals, and you can immediately get a look at that Pyramid Fairy. I spoke too.
Oh no, you're right. He's just taking the long way in. By the long way, I mean the safe way. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dragondarch still has not stepped into Super Metroid for much other than the lower half of Red Brinstar, right?
Yeah, outside of just going in there quickly to just bully Kraid a little bit and get those SM bombs and the hammer at Spazer, really nothing that valuable. Like, has not gotten the hook shot, hasn't done Bryn Loop, which will be really easy with the ammo that has been found.
Bressingham checking out the Croc Escape item, and it is just a bloopy. No need to come out that way later on if we do go visit our friend Croc. And here we get our mountain check.
First, he's just gonna rescue the old man and get himself that sweet spring.
Yeah, he's going to have a little bit more that he can do up here as opposed to what Dragondarch was able to do earlier. Having the hook shot and the hammer means he doesn't necessarily need that mirror to get up to the Tower of Hera. And of course the hook shot itself giving us 8 checks between Spiral and Paradox Cave. Get a little hook speed to climb the mountain faster here, and gets to have a glance at that charge beam. Gets to say, I want it, I want it, I want it, but I don't have a mirror. And there's our third shield. So we already know where all 3 of our shields are. Alright, Paradox Cave, aptly named because you start at the bottom of the mountain, and then when you fall, you end up higher? Don't ask me, I'm no geologist.
This is the real hype cave, though. We're about to see some great power bombs, and the red cane already paying off.
Well, commentators blessing that red cane we know we're going to need it later, which means you need either a mirror or a hookshot to come over here and grab it. Oh!
What double
Yes.
suits?
That is
Oh
the,
my
that is the
goodness.
calling back of the suits right next to each other.
And the mushroom.
And don't go telling me that it's not worth chasing an item.
Yeah, that is a stacked paradox cave right there, and that's basically all of Super Metroid completable right there with those suits.
Alright, Bressingham does have this option to go ahead and take down Tower of Hera. He is going for it. Armos Knights with the bow, absolutely no problem for Dragondarch. 300 rupees for his trouble, but that is the second 5-6 crystal. And we're seeing Bressingham set up for the Herapod.
Yeah, it's interesting because this isn't. I mean, you got to set this glitch up, and if you take too long to set it up, you're sort of just losing the time it would take just to climb. But as soon as I said that, gets it on the second try, so not too bad.
Yeah, Herapod, one of those tricks that are nice to see. Gives you the ability to skip that second floor of the dungeon, get a little bit of a quicker access to this big chest item, assuming you already have the key. That's not what we want to see. You can literally just drop right down and pick up both of those items without having to worry about climbing up the long way. And then, of course, we visit our old friend Moldorm.
And meanwhile, Dragondarch he's just straight up going for that pyramid fairy.
You know, available this early, you kind of have to, right? You've got your 2, 5, 6 crystals that easily accessible in order. You get this check, you can check through the pyramid ledge item is just a bottle. You can go up to catfish, you can go over and clear out pod. Just so many things you can do on this side with this check in your routing.
And we have ourselves the book. That might be pretty valuable.
Yeah, the book on its own doesn't do too much for us. We can read our tablets and our pedestal, and it gives us logical access to desert. Is he making the desert play?
That doesn't not look like the desert play. Really following that pyramid. So we'll see what this.
Yeah, as chat's pointing out, that's the one thing we need to be worried about going into desert after you chase that book. If desert happens to have a small or big key on the torch item, then we're not going to be able to see the back of that dungeon until we find our boots. We know where our boots are, Dragondarch does not. And yeah, with this logical layout, we may not see a mirror, which means we might not be able to pick up that charge beam on Spec Rock. We might not be seeing the Mire to Desert play that a lot of runners like to route in. That book could be the only way we get in here. Alright, Bressingham picking up his cache of rupees from the Cave of Shattered Hopes and Dreams. Interesting, he's going to go ahead, check the Pyramid Ledge, and probably... And we have a Boots Lock Desert. Which key is sitting on our torch? It is the big key. We have a hard Boots Lock Desert, which means Dragondarch, not knowing, needs to go back to Super Metroid and get those boots in the front of Gauntlet.
Yeah, thankfully it looks like Dragondarch is resetting and is going to start doing the Brin loop. I think my guess is that he kind of put it off because he figured that Bressingham was going to do Brin loop really quickly, and maybe the divergence was going to be a boon.
Unfortunately, we know that completing your Brin loop leads to required progression for both games.
Yeah, and not just required progression, obviously the suits, but like the boots are just that really good movement item, so we could have been clearing things a lot faster in Link to the Past.
And Dragondarch has opted to skip the Gauntlet checks for now. They are fully in logic. They have two ways to get up there right now. Of course, because he has bombs, he's going to go ahead and reset out of bomb to Rizzo for those 20 rupees. Not worth the fight and waste of time.
No, the moral of the seed is if you see 20 rupees, it's not worth your life.
Bressingham trying to set up a fake flipper. Where are you headed, Bressingham? He's going back to Meridia. This portal here, next to the dark location for where the Ice Rod Cave would be, is going to take us to that Meridia missile station below Coliseum. And while we have Meridia checks on one side, we're going to see something else brand new here as Dragondarch is getting the top of Red Tower.
And Bressingham gonna go fight Dragon with only 10 super missiles, and obviously he's gonna rely on the speed booster and shine spark strategy because it takes 20 super missiles to kill Dragon. He's got 6,000 health.
And Dragondarch opting to go back up Red Tower. Interesting to see whether he goes left or right here. Bressingham taking a quick save in case something goes horribly wrong.
And Dragondarch looks like going to wreck ship.
Now the wreck ship play is kind of interesting here. We need... Well, we know where our bow is. We are going to need flippers to access Ice Palace at some point here. So that's one of the few things we could be finding over here, knowing that the suits are both on the mountain. Alright, Bressingham's going to face off against Mama Shrimp here with a combination of supers and shine sparks. It looks like he's just going to opt for regular missiles at this point. We see our third mail at the spooky missile location in wrecked ship, so that's both of our armor items for Link to the Past as well. Alright, Bressingham takes care of Dragon with a couple well-placed missiles at the end there. And we're going to see a lot more missile action on Dragondarch's side. He's facing off against Phantoon.
And all that work on Dragon just for a piece of heart.
A very nice gravity jump to get out of this room. And some slick wall jumping to escape that room, the precious room. Alright, Bressingham's going to make his way through Meridia. I would be interested to see if he goes for the plasma location or not.
Yeah, Plasma is going to be in logic because of the screw attack.
It does look like, for at least for now, we're giving it a pass. That's probably the right call to make. Dragondarch with some decent Doppler strategies on Phantoon. Already has him about halfway.
Yeah, I think if you do get Plasma, you route it and you combine it with some sandpit checks.
There is our mirror, so that's a charge beam. That's the silvers, if we so opt to go in those directions. And that's a dead ghost for Dragondarch. Well done. Dead ghost. Does that even make sense?
Maybe he killed it so bad it became alive again, and then wound up being Argus in Swamp Palace.
Think dorm. And there's our space jump. Bressingham opting to reset. Probably going to get some information on the other pit before he decides which way he wants to go. Space jump, while nice to have, not necessarily something that we need. It'll speed things up, but item you're really looking for is your high jump boot. Rolling around with speed boots or no high jump boots is not exactly fun if you're one of those players that like to hold your run button down.
Space Jump does, however, put lower Norfair fully in logic, even though obviously both runners are skilled enough to do the lava dive, especially with that loadout. But the Space Jump is the thing that is logically required by this seed at this point, seeing that we haven't found our flute and other myths.
And there's our second coin, the little bacon coin of Quake there. That is 2 out of 3 battalions, and still no knowledge as to which one we need for Misery Mire. Alright, Dragondarch going ahead to check this E-Tank item. I did not see. Did he take a save before he went back here? I believe that is a yes, and our tracker IQ confirming that he did. No reason to pick up the X-ray scope if you know you're not picking up plasma, so he's just going to leave it there.
Yeah, without doing any microwave strats available, it just takes extra time to menu through your various ammos with the X-ray scope.
He asked and he shall receive the high jump boots in the wall at Mama Turtle. Alright. That actually adds some incentive if you wanted to go back and pick up that space jump item. But you actually, if you're as good at the game as some of our runners are, you're not even thinking about it. You're going to go ahead and take that lava dive to a whole new level here. There's one thing I'm noticing is we have a very ammo scarce seed so far. We have 10 supers on Bressingham's side and only 20 for Dragondarch.
Yeah, and we're gonna have, we got Spazer, Ice, and eventually we're gonna get charged pretty quickly with this mirror, and it's still like, I don't know the damage off the top of my head, but it is not very high. It is around a fully charged shot is something, probably someone in the chat knows, but it's probably something in the 200 or lower range.
I think it's something weird like 175 or something like that. I mean, there are a couple of players that are sitting in the chat that be able to probably give us that information. I do have the chart somewhere. We find our Ice Rod and Sky Missiles. Now, that is very much not something that we need unless you find out that there's an item on Trinex. Yeah, with Wave Beam it's 300 equal to a super, but without Wave it's something weird. Yeah, 180 I'm being told in chat. So if that's our damage cap for the beam combo in this seed, that's not the most comfortable thing.
Yeah, Bressingham did skip he skipped at least one super missile pack in redoing his Brin loop. He might have skipped another, but I know there's at least that one in Gauntlet at the bottom that he's wishing he had.
Alright, so Bressingham we saw going up and down and around Mount Everest, and the reason for that has been made clear. He didn't have a super missile to open the door. And now taking the save once again, I think we have a look at the left sand pit. Kind of low here. Dragondarch has to go ahead and pop his reserves. We saw half magic on the wrecked ship reserve item. We're going to be picking that up. Hey, look, a pack of supers. 2 out of 3 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 supers. 2 out And there's flippers and a flute.
And on Dragondarch side, we see the half magic at the reserve. But yeah, these are pretty stacked sand pits.
Now the flippers we know we needed logically. That flute could be our other way into the back, not the back. Hey, ever just forget what you were saying? That could be our other way into the desert area, provided a second glove at some point here, and lower Norfair access without the space jump. So we're no longer worried about picking that up.
Yeah.
Pressing him once again, realizing I don't have a super missile, I can't open this door.
Yeah, assuming the Titan mitts are not locked behind either like a tablet or in desert, because we didn't get to see the rest of desert because of the boots lock. That might actually be a kind of unfortunate thing for Dragondarch to have chased Pyramid so early that boot might not even come into play. Book.
Dragondarch making the right call. He is going to check the gauntlet items, and we know what's waiting here. He's going to be able to go fast in both games in just a moment. Yeah, some of the items we're finding here are not necessarily required to beat the seed logically. The flute gives you an option to the mire area if you find your Titan's mitts. If your Titan's mitts are elsewhere, like locked in the mire area by lower Norfair access, then you'd expect to see it via the space jump. Alright, we'll get to see in a moment as Dragondarch makes his way through what I'm assuming is going to be the full Bryn loop. And another one of those sick-looking speedballs coming through into the ice beam location.
And there we have the grapple beam, which I guess puts our friend Shaq Tool in lock.
Yeah, Shaq Tool in logic now. I would hate to guess we probably don't see that. As much as we might want to.
Yeah, I think if you're Bressingham, you look at the loadout you have at your things, and even though you wish you had more ammo, you kind of want to just clear what you like, the highest density of locations, and hope it just doesn't come to Shaq Tool.
We don't want to see an item like a bow on Shaq Tool, do we, chat? We already know where the bow is in this seed. May or may not have seen that yesterday, though. Alright, Dragondarch picking up the hook shot, going through their Bryn loop. Bressingham going up and out of the way to find the charge beam. And I would imagine Boots checks here. Alrighty, so we know that we are going to see probably a Dark World check here from Bressingham at some point. First, he's going to get the bad news that he will not be seeing Plasma Beam on this run. Except right there.
Couple of frustration slashes as well.
And he's actually going to go get the magic powder, and with the hammer in hand, we're going to go see Magic Bat. Well, the bat-faced man, the man-faced bat. Whatever funny name you have for this boy.
And just some love from the bat, so not really a necessary item.
Extra heart container with blue mail, not really the worst thing you need to have. Cursed with love, our chat's telling us.
Yeah, there is actually even still a kind of low heart count to this seed. Low hearts, low ammo.
Yeah, there's yet another heart container we knew about, and then another E-tank. I think Bressingham is on 7 or 8 at this point, but still only 15 supers, I think.
And activating that flute, playing the Hyrule National Anthem, whatever you want to call it, and I guess is now going to go straight into the Dark World. And I don't know, wonder if he's going to check Skull Woods, go straight to Village of Outcasts. He's also got Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb to check. Lot of options.
Alright, just as Dragondarch did, Bressingham is going to opt away from our pendant Skull Woods. And if he goes straight to Thieves Town, he will be rewarded with that bow. Well, he didn't want it, but he has a shield now anyway.
And it dawned on me, depending on what Meyer's tablet requirement is, we basically have mitts for Go mode at this point.
That we do. Actually, we're technically in pseudo-Go mode because you can access the Meyer area with the space jump.
Yeah, but you need the mitts to get to Ganon's tower.
That's true.
Oh, and Ice Palace.
Ice Palace, Ganon's Tower, Misery Mire with the flute. You can't complete your game without the Titan's Mitts. Unless you're performing some rather not legal in this category shenanigans. Alright, Dragondarch is finishing out the Bryn loop, going through the criteria checks now. And unless he wants to find himself in the same position that Bressingham was in when he did this, he'll be wise to scout this item before sparking right up to it.
But he's got enough with the reserves. This should be fine.
Yeah, the way Dragondarch routed out the seed, he decided not to go into the Brinstar loop until just about 10 or so minutes ago. And unfortunately, that has come back to bite him, as we know those two suits are both in Paradox Cave, blocked by a hookshot. Unfortunately, we know the bow is somewhere in Village of Outcasts. Or somewhere here in Southwest Dark World. Actually, the boots are also very important. Getting them early means you move around a lot faster at Link to the Past. Also, in this case, we have a boots locked desert. Dragondarch did go into Desert with Knowledge with the book from Pyramid Fairy, and unfortunately found out the bad news. Big Key is on the torch.
Yeah, Dragondarch, Dragondarch didn't miss any items or anything. He just put off Bryn Loop for a really long time, and those boots and the hook shot to be able to get to Paradox Cave. About to find that both of those suits real quickly right now, and that sort of those various gambles. Even though bressinghamvoigt had that death in Bryn Loop that cost him about, I want to say 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes. Does kind of look like he's in the driver's seat right now.
Dragondarch making the right call, though. We see him picking up his Paradox Cave Samaria, which means right up here, those two chests on the left center of your screen have the treasure that we seek. He goes right to the middle. And Stumpy had her bow once again. Bressingham's going to go ahead. And he has a shovel he hasn't checked yet. Also wisely remembering he has a mushroom he hasn't checked yet. And honestly, it's a check that you do anytime you want at this point with that flute in hand.
Oh my goodness, and the third medallion. That's really good. Means he can guaranteed just go to the Mire area and not really have to worry about the medallion requirement. And that
Nice.
actually kills off Turtle Rock because you need the mitts to get to Turtle Rock. So really, Bressinghamvoigt, all he needs is those mitts, and the mitts mean he can go mode Ice Palace, doesn't have to do Turtle Rock. And I mean, I think right now, if I were him, and it looks like what he's doing, he's just going to straight up just start clearing all the crystals.
Yeah, I would call it go mode because you still need to find your mitts. Can't finish the game without the mitts, but for all intents and purposes, that is mitts for go.
Oh, and he doesn't have enough money
Oh.
for Kiki. Kiki needs
Gets
100.
denied by the monkey with only half the price of entry. And he's going to get bailed out in Eastern Palace because if I recall correctly, the item that we got off of Armus Knights was 300 rupees. Alright, Trolldorm is going to get hammered by Dragondarch. 1, 2, and a visit to Pound Town. Well done there. Bressinghamp remembering this rupee room here. This is not something you usually see, though in this circumstance absolutely warranted.
But he needs that money and does not know about that Armos Knight is about to bail him out.
Yeah, he's going to see a massive stimulus package from the Armos Knights when he takes that bow to them. 300 rupees for the grabbing, and then spend 100 of them right away.
And while we see the runners sort of take on similar territory, it'd be worth mentioning, really give these runners a follow. They're doing their best out there. They're putting on a show for you guys. Dragondarch does a lot of like retro gaming stuff, like outside of SMZ3 if you're really interested in looking at that stuff, some speedrunning, and bressinghamvoigt's almost exclusively SMZ3 and a few Z3 things. Like, if you just like, I want to see someone do like a multi-world on a Tuesday night, Bressingham's your guy for that. And so, yeah, give them both a follow. Also, consider checking out rank1.global. They're sponsoring the prize for the top 4 people in the tournament. It's been really cool that they've been sponsoring and shedding some light on the SMZ3 community. And check out Rank 1 Global. It's pretty awesome. It's basically like Facebook for like gaming. Like, you can tell people what you're playing, what you're looking to play, see what other people are, and check out the pages.
I would also invite everybody in chat to give myself, Ceruvian, my co-commentator, All Cheese No Sauce, and our tracker today is Ikir. He participated in this tournament and had a pretty decent showing during the brackets. Just a little bit of rando luck not going our way, but he is fantastic as well. Make sure you give him a look. And now we've paid the monkey, and into Palace of Darkness we go. And we have a logically bow-locked Palace of Darkness. And Bressingham is going to go through the statue on the side here. While Dragondarch picks up his high jump boots, making his movement through Meridia that much smoother. No, Bressingham, you haven't picked up your silvers yet.
Yeah, it's interesting because the silvers are still like really out of the way on that island, especially since he's already done Meridia, and that kind of would be the opportune time to do that. Is like get out of Meridia, use the mirror, and warp there. Maybe at this point it might make sense because you only have 2 swords, and you're probably thinking, well, I'll get another sword in Ganon's palace or something, but. Spin strats, Silverless Ganon is not fun with just the Master Sword.
Alright, going straight at the center now. With 3 keys, I think you absolutely go ahead and get these 2. Yeah, just 20 rupees at the big key chest. And then we're probably going right to the back here. We don't have a lamp, so technically Dark Maze is out of logic, but that's not going to be a problem for Bressingham. As we see, he's got bombs out already. He is setting up for a good old-fashioned hammer yump, probably. Oh no, he's just going to go straight back. But that's on the table here. With a few frame skips there, we didn't see the item, but we heard a piece of heart. And that's all of the keys that you need for this dungeon. Which means there's an item in the... well, it's either a dungeon item or possibly an item drop in the Harmless Hellway here. That's our big key. I think it kind of had to be, didn't it? Alright, Dragondarch, with only 1 super coming into this room after a Batoon fight, he's going to go ahead and farm up so that he has a much easier time with Dragon. The Kadongo is giving him a little bit of something to think about with those fireballs. I think they're all dead now, so he should be safe to get yet more rupees. Alright, now Dragondarch going to see a Master Sword in the wall and the Precious Missiles. He's picking that up. He's going to go fight Dragon. And 19 supers, 18 actually. Not so bad. Last item on Helmasaur King, you see Bressingham utilizing that mirror. He'll go from the front all the way to the back.
Yeah, the mirror is such a good item to, like, even outside of the things that it unlocks, it's so good for Palace of Darkness. You don't have to do any of those annoying death warps. You can just keep on going back to the front. Super.
And anyone up for some battered shrimp, as we got a second helping coming up here. And that is a Dragon down for Dragondarch. Well done with the ammo kill. Now Bressingham is going into the basement of the Palace of Darkness without a lamp. These rooms aren't as bad as some of the other dark traversals you may have to do in the game. However, in a room from now, you have this one turtle that you can pretty much ignore. And that's actually very smart, going ahead and sticking an arrow in the side so that you know where he is. Now, this room has 2 torches in it, but the turtles can block them. There it is.
Yeah, that room is probably one of the worst dark rooms in the game without use of at least the fire rod to light those torches. Just turtles coming at you from every which way.
Opting to go ahead and cape dash for the turtles in the center of our horseshoe room, and the hero's Helmasaur King with the mask that's 17 pounds of the hammer to knock it off, and then a few well-placed shots with either the bow or a sword, or you can just keep on using the hammer. Interesting, going ahead to use up that blue bottle. Make sure we don't take an unfortunate fireball after that tail swipe. But easily taken care of. That's a Helmasaur King down, and Palace of Darkness clear for Bressingham.
And we see both of the bosses just dropping that 300 rupees. That's where all the cash was.
Some level of irony there is you didn't have the money to get in, and you ended up leaving with a lot more than you came in with. As most of the items in that dungeon were rupees, too.
Yeah, in reality, Kiki should have been an investor and should have just said, "I'll do this for free now and just want some return on the investment. Give me some more rupees on the back end," and would have paid off a lot better for that money.
All right, so Bressingham, with the option to go get the Pyramid Fairy out of the way, now he will do so. He will get his book, and he knows that's how you get into desert right now. And Dragondarch is going to see flippers and a flute in that left sand pit, and opts to reset to get some intel on the right. I like seeing these because I actually don't know how to do them. If you take a damage boost or you hook shot speed the follower with you, you can go into a dash and the bomb won't actually go into a detonation timer. So we see Bressingham bouncing off one of the Moblin guards and then just going off to the races. You see the space jump in the right sandpit. Dragondarch also opting to reset out of that one. I think he's feeling the left one's probably a little bit more important at this stage. That's interesting because we know that the space jump is our logical access to Lower Norfair, and also, through that, the Mire area.
Yeah, again, as we mentioned, with things like high jump and speed booster and morph bombs, like, they all can do all the stuff that the space jump does, and so they don't really need to, like, get it again. But knowing that it's there means that, like, it puts everything within the logic that it needs to be. The only case in which it would be really unfortunate, the trolliest possible thing that could happen, is if the Titan mitts are on that second chest or that second location in Golden Chorizo, because that's the one location space jump hard requires.
That would be one hell of a deal breaker. We are going to see him go up and get the item in plasma here. And we already saw this check from Bressingham. I don't recall what it was, but I don't think it was that important. Now see what Bress is doing, though. A little bit of forward thinking. Well, a little bit of bonking first. Now, when he went through the Mimic bow-locked rooms in Pod, he tried menuing to silvers. And now we see him picking them up.
I like this. I thought either the case could be made for getting those silvers, which is what he did, or using the resources at hand, like where he was, to check that Bombos tablet and then mirror into the desert. But I think you kind of go for what you know as opposed to what you don't in this case. Like, it'd be nice to get that check done, but at the same time, I think it's a little bit nicer to have those silvers, especially with just Master Sword.
Yeah, that is one big offensive boost. It would have made those two dungeons a little bit quicker if he had routed that in that way. But he is still going to be able to save a little bit of time on Lamulus here, because that's a 3-shot kill if they're in the right spot.
And, I mean, knowing Mire's required, be able to just waste Vitreous with those silver arrows is really...
Oh, silvers on Vitreous is just not fair for Vitreous. Alrighty, we still have 2 items at large here. And the last item being on Lamulus, knowing it's a crystal, we'll be taking care of that either way, but you also know you're not missing anything when you go through here.
So, if you were a betting man, where would you say that the Titan's mitts are right now?
Well, I wouldn't be willing to guess that they're going to be in Lower Norfair, but that would be my bet with that space jump where it is.
I think that makes sense. I think my other prediction is that that green pendant, Swamp Palace, that definitely is a little bit of a problem. You definitely have that in the back of your head, because that's fully complete.
Oh yeah, Swamp Palace wouldn't be a very kind location for them, but with knowledge of the mirror and the flippers, we knew we needed the flippers, we didn't know we needed the mirror. So that would be one heck of a place for it. Get to see Bressingham put those silvers to work, but a little bit early on the first shot. Gonna have to two-cycle Lamo. Easily rectified. What do we have today? It's just another heart container. We're almost 2 hours in. We're still only on 8 hearts. Alright, Dragondarch going out of his way to pick up his silvers. And he is going... Where is he going? He's got a hammer out. Is he making the swamp play?
It looks like it. Swamp, and probably checking that, either swamp or just checking out that ether tablet, or not ether, Bombos tablet, and doing a pedestal, or not desert, sorry. Words difficult. No, it looks like he's doing swamp.
And it's a good density check play. Swamp already having a decent number of items in it, but also being that green pendant, not too bad of a call here.
Yeah, he still hasn't done pod, so he'll be able to route in turning in that green pendant with pod pretty smoothly.
Alright, the only thing that we, as a spectator crowd, know that we would like to see here is probably just the Titan's mitts. Checking to see what this dungeon requirement is, once again, internalizing that map check and probably thinking, is this the right call? And dipping out of a pendant swamp palace, I don't know. Looks like we're going to chase a few of the mirror checks here. We're going to see our little cave, numbered 45 in the game's code. That's chat correcting me that it has nothing to do with the developers, it's just the cave number that was given by map creators for the game. Okay, good information. I don't think about why people call it Cave 45. You'd come up with a much more creative name, right?
Some people call it like Forest Grove or something, right?
Yeah,
something.
It's the Grove. It's where our flute man is. So they call it Cave South of Grove, is what I've heard too.
And Bombos not paying off, just that 20 rupees. Or I guess literally paying off, but not actually paying off.
Bressingham checking out parts of Upper Norfair before he takes any kind of a dive into Lower. Finds some supers, some well-needed super missiles above the speed booster door. So I thought he picked some up, but no, he was still on 10 coming down here.
Yeah, and you're hoping to see 3 more super packs before you fight Ridley, because fighting Ridley with that charge ice spazer is, man, that's going to be slow.
And just what the doctor ordered, there is another super pack, so we are now at 20. So Ridley's at least a little bit more comfortable the closer you get to 30, even if you don't actually get there. Of course, Ridley takes double damage from a super missile, 600 instead of 3, so it'd be 6 missiles to make up for every super that you miss or don't have.
Yeah, assuming you hit all 20 supers, then Ridley's got 6,000 health remaining that you've got to take away with either 60 regular missiles or some combination of those 180 damage shot charged beams.
Presently, Bressingham is only on Charge Beam with Ice and Spazer. So that would be 180 damage per shot. Now, interesting, he takes what I have heard in the Super Metroid community as Remembered Highway. He's going for a lava dive here. And we're going to see a gravity jump. This is pretty free. And takes the save. I would imagine we'll see the backdoor entry into the screw attack area via the green gate.
Yeah, I think this is very smart to do this and check Golden Chorizo, and again, hope to all that is that he holds sacred that there's not that item on the left side of Golden Chorizo.
The good news is that you're only looking for one item in this particular case, the Titansmith, so if that happens to be there, that wouldn't be a very kind place for it. See Dragondarch taking out his Lamulus with a few quick shots of that bow with silver arrows. That is now 4 crystals for him.
Oh no, and in Bressingham down. So that's why he saved, is so he could use those supers to try to get that green gate glitch. So that's a little loss of time there.
As I like to call it, the final boss green gate. In the GT Classic category of Super Metroid, you don't have anywhere near as many shots to get that gate, but with a safety save here, he's going to have 18 more.
We have seen in this tournament so many amazing techs from Super Metroid executed, and all of this stuff by all of the runners, including these two. And I'll just say, like, even all those calibers of runners still have trouble with that green gate right there. So it's understandable.
Alright, so he's pausing to take a moment and set himself up for it. It did look like he was shooting a little bit low, possibly either early or late. Just like that. And on the last missile, on his second try, he gets it. Alright, and we'll see 2 items in Gold Chorizo. One we know we can get right now, the other one we can just look at, just a piece of heart. And just to reset out, not seeing what we're looking for. So, unfortunately, if he wants to get into the mire area, he will have to do that one more time. Ooh, Dragondarch going for the gravity jump, but just missing the down grab.
And bressinghamvoigt setting up for that rematch with Green Gate.
Best 2 out of 3, right?
Green Gate, it's me. I've come to bargain.
And our tracker Iker, who's doing a very fantastic job behind the scenes, letting us know that Dragondarch did not pick up Charge Beam on Spectacle Rock before he made the play down here.
And Bressingham gets the green gate much more comfortable this time. Only a few super.
Alright, so we are going to see our first flick into the Misery Mire area. Inconsequential, we saw a Bombos requirement to enter Misery Mire. We saw that one early.
And Dragondarch not saving before going into LN, so he's whatever he decides. These are all final. If he's going for the green gate glitch, gotta get it. If he's going straight for, he's just going straight for Ridley.
And this is kind of a 50-50 call, I think. Because you're eventually going to have to go get Ridley anyway. That is no secret. In this circumstance, he's going to have the extra information from item checks up here, while Bressingham is busy in Misery Mire. Now, if this works out, he gets the Mitt, he's in good shape. If the Mitt's not down here, then his Mire access through Lower Norfair could actually come back to hurt time-wise. Alright, Misery Mire for bressinghamvoigt, so aptly named as I felt that way the first time I started playing again. I got lost in here pretty badly, actually. Only 2 items and a lot of chest keys. Meaning this dungeon can either go very kindly to you, or you're going to find everything but your items until you get to Vitreous. Dragondarch with the preemptive check of the Fire Flea location, what was normally an E-tank, has been alchemized to 20 rupees.
Dragondarch really, he's doing some scouting up above the Ridley area. This is really kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, he is hedging his bets right now.
You get the feeling that he probably thinks he's a little bit behind from missing out on getting those boots and those suits really early on. You kind of assume the worst and kind of assume your opponent already got those suits really quickly, and which, to be fair, Bressingham did. So yeah, he's definitely playing like he's a little behind.
You know what I think he's doing is he's setting up to go backwards through Amphitheater to go into the Mire area after he's taken down Ridley.
Oh, you're right. Okay, that makes sense.
So he scouted everything forward, whereas Bressingham is going to go forward after finishing out everything in the Mire area. There's our big key. And you know, the only place that we haven't seen in Lower Norfair to this point now is Ridley. So you have to think, if we don't see it in Mire and we don't see it in Lower Norfair, then we're going to start thinking about doing a few of these pendant dungeon dips here.
Yeah, the pendant dungeons, we still haven't seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've seen King's Tomb or Graveyard Ledge.
No, we have not. And our tracker letting us know we haven't seen X-Ray yet either.
Yeah, that's right.
Bressingham having some fun in the dark in Mire's basement. That first room has got a pretty simple setup if you know where to go straight down to the locked door, put a block in the corner, turn around, throw it at the switch after you've lifted the jar. And the other two rooms are a little bit kinder than that. We saw one of our runners go into the middle of Skullwoods and find a dungeon item, and then they noped out.
Yeah, Dragondarch actually, he set himself up to go into 2 of the pendant dungeons and noped out of both of them, and obviously can't access the 3rd pendant dungeon.
And of course, the Silver Arrow's completely wasting Vitreous, and our second item is just an E-Tank. So those pendant dungeon plays are starting to look the way. Now out of supers, Dragondarch switching to missiles, and Ridley goes kablowy.
And this is the last item check we have for Lower Norfair.
And just more power bombs. That means we have seen, I think, a good high 90% of all of Super Metroid to this point. And I hate to say it, chat, because I know someone out there is probably thinking it. No, the mitts cannot be on the pedestal. But yes, they can be at the spring ball location behind everyone's favorite worker robot.
And it's also worth noting, Bressingham hasn't yet done Wrecked Ship and was saving it for later, so might wind up doing that after Ridley, just because it is one of the few required things to get out of the way. And unfortunately, we know that there's really nothing in Wrecked Ship besides that ice rod, which, as said, we know is useless.
Yeah, the only thing that Ice Rod could actually do for us here, besides being a combat option, where we already have better ones, is if an item is on Trinex. But unfortunately, we can't see mitts on Trinex, because you need mitts to get to TR.
And it couldn't even be the lamp, because you need the lamp to get to Trinex.
Yeah, where is our lamp? That is what I want to know right about now. My guess is Skullwoods for the lamp. Alright, we are going to see one of those rare high five moments as Bressingham is climbing down into Wasteland and Dragondarch is on his way out. Opposite directions on the same screen. Now, Bressingham has less supers and less ammo overall than Dragondarch did, but still plenty of ammo to kill Ridley with. Dragondarch proving to be right with this call to dive into the acid at Amphitheater. Yep, we're seeing the Portal to Mire play from Dragondarch. We already know that it's not the answer for what we're looking for, but it is a dungeon that he has to complete either way. And Bressingham with his short farm here, right before his encounter with our Space Pelican friend. Why do I call them friends? They're all out to kill us. Assuming he doesn't miss a super missile, it's going to be 6 times 6, 36 regular missiles to make up for it. So, not the fastest setup for a fight with Ridley, but definitely not out of the realm of doable. And I would imagine he makes it look pretty easy here. As we've crossed the 2-hour mark and both of our runners are showing us something we've already seen before, I would like to once again invite you to follow our fantastic, talented players here. And give our sponsor, Rank1.global, a look. Once again, they are the social network for gamers and have graciously given us a sponsorship. The top 4 players in this tournament will get to face, a little bit of cash for their trouble. So if you ever want to find other people to play games you enjoy, you want to see what some of your favorite speedrunners are doing on the side, look no further than Rank1.global.
Yeah, and just outside of all of that, mentioning that if you are interested in playing this game and are not one of the many people in the community yet, it's one, a very welcoming community, but two, just hit up samus.link, the very aptly named website, and you can start playing your own seeds and games like this. And it's addictive. Once you pop, you can't stop, so to speak.
And it's just beginning, as there are so many different variations we can still see added to the game. I hear and see some testing of a key sanity feature that should be coming soon, TM. Alright, out of Lower Norfair for Bressingham, he's probably going to take the usual Ridley escape path, and Dragondarch will start the search for those 2 items and the Mire big key. And it'll be interesting to see which direction Bressingham decides to go in next with the grapple beam that has put Check Tool into logic. With knowledge of the space jump, we know that the X-ray item is in logic. And I think those are the only 2 things we haven't actually seen out of Super Metroid. Everything else, we know it's not here.
Grapple also puts the X-ray in logic as well.
It does indeed. And he hasn't done Fantoon at Wreck Ship yet, so there is a good chance that he has a look.
Yeah, I think that's the rational play at this point in time, because it's the one thing left that's required that you still can do. I mean, we unfortunately know it's not the right play, and he's going to lose a little bit of time in doing that.
Hey, he thought about skipping that E-Tank, and he said, well, why not? I'm here. So that's a healthy 9 E-Tanks and at least 2 reserves now. Screw Attack, of course, making these key hunters look absolutely ridiculous. That's why it's one of those items you absolutely love to see before you go into lower Norfair, but the later in the game it is, Screw Attack actually loses a lot of value, so finding it early like our runners have, it's kind of end up being, I don't want to say easy mode, but definitely a convenience item.
Yeah, and again, like it also like interferes with a few things depending. Like it makes it harder to do the Zebetite skip towards the very end of the game. It makes it a little bit more difficult, as we saw, to do those green gate glitches. But it's still very welcome for a lot of the game that has the difficult enemies that take a lot of charge shots and things like Three Musketeers back in Lower Norfair.
So a heads up play to make sure we check Cathedral. You don't want to orphan this item, as we've seen before, it has proven to be a race changer. But just another pack of supers. Now he's at 30. Oh, Dragondarch having problems with this first room in the Mire basement without a lamp. And he gets it. Yes, if you're late joining us, we are currently in a Mitz Go mode situation. The only dungeon left to clear is Ice Palace. And for everything that one runner has done that the other has not, we have not seen where our Titan's mitts lie. With a hammer out, I'm thinking Bressingham is looking for Spike Cave. And, well, it's a pretty good call to not leave this one. This isn't it either. Yeah, to answer the question in chat, yes, there are two locations we have not seen from either runner in Super Metroid as of this moment, and they are the X-Ray location and the Shack Tool. All right. So this is the swamp play for real.
This looks like it, and with the density of items, especially with the addition of the green pendant item, this seems like the most logical play given with what we know. Oh, and routing in that Bombos check as well.
Yep, don't miss this one. I had a Link to the Past race this past week that the Bombos tablet was harboring a red cane. Remember, Rando says it can be pretty much anywhere. Logic expecting, of course. Now, wouldn't it be nice if it could just rain money anytime you lifted up a sword?
I mean, I don't lift up swords very often, so, I mean, I have no proof that it doesn't.
I always wondered why they would give Link, this, young lad, one of the sharpest blades in all of Hyrule, and say, okay, now go beat Ganon. I can't even trust myself with a butter knife. Alright, Dragondarch has decided that Pod is likely the play. Maybe. I mean, we know it's not, but he needs to finish this either way. And I'm pretty sure we had Dragondarch have a read of Ether when he only had one sword. But I think Bress just plain skipped it.
Yeah, Bressa's not gotten back up to that area, but I don't remember if we've seen ether. But I can't imagine it's that valuable, because if it was what we needed, Dragondarch would have gotten.
Yeah, Dragondarch has since gotten a second sword. He hasn't made his way back up to the mountain yet. And our tracker, Ike, here, once again doing a very fantastic job for us today, letting us know that the read on Ether tablet from Dragondarch's side said it was just an E-tank. Still, I probably would have preferred to check that before going into Spike Cave, since I'm already up there. Alas, not a bad orphan in this case. There's our second item out of Swamp Palace. It's just a little bit more Super Metroid ammo. And we're going to see left side here, it looks like.
I mean, if you're in here for all the items, so it doesn't really... The location is kind of immaterial in this. I mean...
So you're going to see a little bit more than just left side, as Bressingham has not just flooded the key, he is setting up for a diver down. Yeah, this is a little bit tricky, but not too bad. As you set a Mario block right on that rail there, you can jump up out of the water and clip between the block and the rail, allowing you to fall down as though you were walking on the layer beneath the water. And there it is. So you can flush this key, have that delayed bomb explosion, put the pegs back up, climb out, and then swim over the blocking rocks. And that could save you some time, but the longer it takes for you to actually get the trick down, you could actually lose you a little bit of time. And we haven't seen any of our dungeon items yet. So this could be a big key map compass on the side here. Should mean left side swamp. Either it pays or it pains. 20 rupees. Nice use of ether to freeze all the Kodongos. Except for one. That's going to give Dragondarch an easy way through the rest of the maze. Alright, we have seen 3 of the items so far. And no longer having enough magic to use the Cane of Samaria, Bressingham is going to have to do a little... he remembers he has a blue potion.
And this location, particularly this diver down location above the other one, like if you really don't get it on the first 2 tries, you really are losing a little bit of time. But gets it. And gets that big key.
Alright, so he's opting to go back and check the big chest. And it's just the map, so everything else left in the dungeon is going to be an item. Yeah, at this point, with that much time invested in it, I don't think this is faster. You know, Dragondarch gonna have an easy time cleaning up Helmasaur King. 1 silver to the gem on his forehead will do it. And just like that, we're all knotted up in crystals. But Dragondarch has the advantage of knowledge that what he's looking for is not in wrecked ship.
It's true. It all comes down to where Dragondarch searches next.
And Dragondarch forgetting that the item we're looking for is the item you need to lift up that heavy rock. So he's going to go around, and I feel like this is the Skullwoods check for real now. One silver takes down Argus. And Argus has for us just another pack of 3 bombs. But there's that green pendant looming large, and that could have something for us, but also not. Dragondarch deciding to give us a look at the pedestal. We know what we're looking for can't be there because Turtle Rock is a pendant. We just see a super missile pack on there.
And Bressingham about to go check that green pendant, see what old man has for us.
And just a little bit more ammo. So Swamp Palace not proving to be the play here.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That is a lot of time lost, and so now we're really down to Skull Woods, those 2 checks in Super Metroid, the X-ray and Shack Tool, and Pyramid Ledge, King's Tomb, not Pyramid Ledge, Graveyard Ledge, King's Tomb. And that's right, Bressingham forgot to do this. He forgot to get Criteria Peeves.
Yeah, both of our runners are realizing we're starting to run out of things that we can look at here. That's a question I usually have a little bit better of a tabs on. Where was the grappling beam?
I couldn't tell you. It was amidst a bunch of divergence. I think it was in Bubble Mountain, but I'm not sure. Well, I guess we're gonna find out.
You know, it's saying a lot when we've had grapple beam for a while, and none of us remember where it was. And I feel like Bubble Mountain might be right. We see Dragondarch has all of their reserve tanks in hand and full. So health not a problem. It's just figuring out where we're going here. I feel like this is right. Norfair Reserve? Does that sound right, chat? Yeah, it wasn't here. Okay, so Dragondarch's probably going to show us that any minute now, and Bressingham's going to show us everything we've already seen in Wrecked Ship.
I remember the entrance is on the left side, but that's not that helpful.
It's a pretty interesting detail to remember. Because there's a lot of options. And yeah, Bressingham not doing Wrecked Ship early, which we didn't find too much in Wrecked Ship today, has, it put him ahead on a lot of the other checks that Dragondarch's currently doing. But if Dragondarch decides to go into something that Bressingham hasn't checked yet and finds myths, that's going to put him ahead. Get to see some more of the Doppler strat. Unfortunately, only one extra missile on that swing. And not a lot of missiles to work with here. Only 16 as of that last pickup. In theory, more than you should actually need for a clean Doppler, but if Fantoon's going to troll us like he is right now... Dragondarch opting to take a reset. Not finding anything of value in Bubble Mountain. He is headed probably... yeah, the Ice Beam area. Oh, and ICure, our tracker, once again giving us some information we want to hear. We haven't seen the Crockemeyer fight yet. That is a good 4 item checks that we have not had a look at. 4 or 5? Math? There's our grapple beam and ice beam location.
Okay, alright. So I definitely thought it was like a, whatever, left entrance, and it was on a Chozo statue. So I was not wrong, but I was wrong in the area of where it was.
Yeah, I felt like it had to be somewhere in Norfair because both of our runners had a good look at Meridia. Alright, Dragondarch's gonna go Croc Speedway. And this one I like to call our friend for real. Croc did nothing wrong. Until he has progression, and it's, one of the last things we look at.
And Dragondarch just gonna save here and gonna save scum this Croc area if he doesn't find any progression at Grapple, is my guess.
And SpeedGaming 1 bringing over 197 other fans. Welcome to this iteration of the Super Metroid and Link to the Past Combo Randomizer Tournament. We are in Go -1 looking for Titan's Myths.
We are looking for the myths. The only item we haven't seen that is quote-unquote logical is also the lamp, but both of these runners are way too skilled to need it and be looking.
Probably see a reset out of this item here, as we know it's, it's the X-ray beam. The X-ray beam. No, Brest didn't take a save. So he's going to go down and up to the attic. All right. It's the second coming of Crockemeyer. Well, it was Crockemeyer. It kind of isn't anymore. Remember, friends, don't do acid. And a heart container at Croc Power Bombs. Really not a bad find, as we've noted that the heart container amount in this game has been a little bit on the low side. Just a little bit of money.
So we're down to two more, the last two checks for the Croc area.
Alright, you're set up for a speed booster here. Go ahead and shine spark straight up into... Don't do that.
Just
a little bit too short. A little further, and it's just... Hey, pantry missiles are vanilla. So Panzer General, he has accessed Crocomire in logic, using the vanilla intended strategy from the Ice Beam location down Crumble Tower and through Croc Speedway with the speed booster. Unfortunately not finding anything down here. Took that save. Oh, how did Croc get down there? I don't know, he just kind of lives there. I think it's kind of rude of us to knock down his door and say, I'm taking your items. Little game of Chozo, bowling for Bressingham. Yeah, just cutscene engage. Dragondarch, where are you going?
Looks like he's finally gonna check out Skull Woods and then probably route in, if Skull Woods doesn't pay off, route in that King's Tomb and Graveyard ledge.
Yeah, we haven't seen Skullwoods to this point.
Well, we saw one chest.
Yeah, we saw the big key chest and it was a dungeon item. Actually, no, it was a key, wasn't it?
It was a key.
So we still do not know. And he's not going. He's going straight for North Dark World. Ah, so he's going to go ahead and get Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb out of the way first.
Well, I mean, I can't disagree with this because they're both equal density. Like, they both have two items. So there's not an overwhelming balance either way.
I think these two are probably the kinder play in this circumstance. They're not easy to route in. They're not something you have to go jumping through hoops to check. And they're right next to each other, whereas you don't know where your items are going to show up at Skull Woods. If something's fire rod locked, for example, you have to go all the way to the back. It could even be on Mothula, and there it is!
And we have it.
At 2 hours, 27 minutes, and 40x seconds, Dragondarch has entered Go mode with the mitts at Graveyard Ledge. And that means he is fluting straight down to Ice Palace. Oh no, he's gonna get the, we're still looking for another sword. We would like to see a tempered sword to make the Ganon fight a little bit easier. So there you have it, folks. Mirror required to complete this seed. And then here comes the flute to 8, and we are going to see a Go mode Ice Palace from Dragondarch. Meridia for Mirror, I want to say it was an Aqueduct, but I could be wrong.
It was indeed. It was the right item in Aqueduct.
So Meridia was actually kind of loaded if you think about it in the seed. You had the mirror, you had the flute, you had the flippers, and then finally you had the space jump that we just kind of all ignored existed because we didn't necessarily need it. So Bressingham's going to do due diligence here. He's checking out the X-ray item. One of the couple checks left remaining in Super Metroid. Not really a bad call. We know it's not the right call. But in his mind, with so few things to actually look at, this is correct. And we're about to see an icebreaker from Dragondarch, assuming the the Pengators leave him alone. Crocogators, huh?
Well, if Crocomire has kids and they live in Ice Palace, then maybe he really isn't native to Lower Norfair with all that lava. I'm just saying.
I think that's a pretty good bet. And interesting, he's still checking chests on his way down Ice Palace. Again, probably still looking for a sword.
And it looks like Bress is gonna go check Shack Tool.
Yes, he did go back and flip the crystal switch, if I recall correctly. When earlier I checked, both runners had a similar amount of ammo to what Bressingham had now. But in Lower Norfair, Dragondarch had a slight amount more. So I would imagine that he's pretty comfortable for Mother Brain right now.
Yeah, and as chat is pointing out, like the routing to get now with the mirror and to get that charge on Spectacle Rock, like he might just do it for safety, depending on not even bother checking what his loadout is. But I think it's close to about 50-ish super missiles.
Alright, so we get to see a half Magic Fire Rod fight with Cold Stare.
And nicely done.
Alright, and that is Dragondarch's 7th crystal. So in just a few moments here, we'll see him go up and visit Aghanim at the top of Ganon's tower, provided he finds the big key. Hopefully somewhere a little bit nicer than something like Tile Room. Bressingham doubled back and got the item at Plasma. Still looking for those mitts. Mitts really in a kind of a rude location for this scene. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Dragondarch remembers that the charge beam is up on Spec Rock and he's headed that way.
It's really a thing. This seed turned into mitts. Like at an hour and 40, all we really needed were the mitts. We had everything, and as you can see, bressinghamvoigt still hasn't found them. Dragondarch found them just a few minutes ago. It was a search for those mitts, and it was not a convenient location.
Yeah, knowing they could be anywhere except in Ice Palace and Turtle Rock or on East Dark Mountain. We saw Bressingham take the Swamp Palace play, check the green pendant, and it wasn't that. But we saw Dragondarch take North Dark World instead of dipping to Skull Woods, and he got rewarded at Graveyard Ledge. And bar some unforeseen circumstances, you have to imagine he will be rewarded with a win here in just a short while.
And looks like he's going to do Hookshot Cave, really just going out of the way to look for that sword, which I can't disagree with. And the lamp!
Now, wait a minute. What does that say about this playthrough, that the lamp is in Hookshot Cave locked behind Mitts at Graveyard Ledge?
Well, Graveyard Ledge was accessible actually like pretty early on, like if you think about it. Like the moment you got the mitts from Aqueduct, you could do that, and a lot of those dungeons were not, like they opted to do those dungeons instead of do Graveyard Ledge check. But yeah, it's thankful that it took a while to get those mitts, because then once you get that lamp right there, they've already done all their dark rooms, so it's good to see that now.
Yeah, the lamp can't mean anything nice for the logic when you consider that mirror would be very easy to skip. But, that's all water under the bridge now. We're going into Ganon's tower. We're looking for a big key, and we're gonna fight a pig.
And the disgruntled math teacher, apparently.
One of these days I'd be seriously concerned if I found out that a math teacher started throwing energy balls at you across the classroom. I'm better at algebra than geometry, I promise. Dragondarch going into Hope Room, checking the right chest first. Left chest is a key. Keys are nice to find here. And looks like we are going to continue on the right-hand side with that key.
I've not seen full left side or full right side in a while, but it looks like that's what we're going to see.
We'll probably see the checks here in the compass room, and then the Dark Magician strats. Grab the key, mirror to the front. Yeah, being corrected, because I've heard many different ways that this is described. Either way, he didn't even grab the key. And he gets a key on the torch anyhow. Alright, this dubbed the Dark Magician's room because this is the room you would mirror out of if you went left and then right.
And Bressingham is now just going to savagely attack Crocomire, who in this case literally did nothing wrong, no items behind him, so it's kind of unfortunate. Again, nowhere near that Graveyard Ledge at the moment.
Alright. On we go to the Fire Snake room. Push a block, hook onto a chest, and it's in here. With one key, I think,
Oh, he's got 0 keys.
See, now he needs a key, because he decided to keep going. So you should climb with at least one key.
Oh no, he's gonna have
Rando
to...
Room. Absolutely paying out how Rando Room tends to. You know, getting map and compass, isn't that technically worse than vanilla? Oh boy. So Dragondarch has to be searching for a sword here, still.
I think he's actually going back to get that key that he missed. That's really what he's searching for.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably the right call. But the fact that he kept going, looking in other chests, that tells me he's looking for a sword. Bressingham getting the bad news that pantry missiles are vanilla, and then soon he'll find out that the grapple location is nothing more than 10 arrows and be disappointed. Yeah, he didn't grab this key that you usually grab a mirror out of after this portal. But he opted to burn a key to check Rando Room right after he found the big key at Lava Snake, which was very interesting.
Yeah, and after he got burned by Rando Room like that, I think now he's just gonna climb the tower and get whatever chests he can.
In before 2 swords on Laser Bridge. Considerably riskier there to go ahead and just... Oh, these are beautiful strategies being used by Dragondarch here. Usually you see people grab onto a wall and guide the red gorillas in front of you so you can just shoot them. He just went straight to them. And of course, taking advantage of the iframes here to go ahead and dash right through.
And using that ether strat, because it is the fastest animation of all the medallions, and freezes those enemies, gets them out very quick, or kills some of them, gets them out very quick.
Yeah, Ether and Ice Rod will kill Stalfos in one shot.
I guess now he's just switched to Bombos.
Yeah, Bombos will just straight up kill these Zazuks in one shot. And of course the Gyptos die to either Ether or Fire Rod. Well, actually, neither of our runners are looking for an Ice Rod. Right now, Bressingham is looking for the Titan's Mitts. Turtle Rock is a pendant. We don't need to complete it to finish the game. The Ice Rod was at Sky Missiles in wrecked ship area.
Yeah, Bressingham saw it and didn't get it because
he decided, yeah, it's not needed. You don't need it for anything. So just missing the one on the right there by a couple pixels, but there it is. Lamo 2, gone and done. Of course, making these rooms look easy with the Cane of Samaria. And Bressingham is going to show us what was hiding for us in Skull Woods. We see an E-Tank. And then at the Pot Prison, we find another key. So Dragondarch has 4 other chests here that he can hope pays out with a sword. He's got the 2 in the mini Helmasaur room. He's got the 1 in the pre-Moldorm room, and then he has the 1 chest post-Moldorm. And of course, with that key, we are clear to launch. Oh, and he gets a tempered sword in the pre-Moldorm chest. I think Dragondarch is comfortable now that he is going to go straight for it.
And perfect timing, because 2 tempered spins just gonna slice up Moldorm. And the Wave Beam!
Oh my goodness. And that gives us the Spazer Beam combo, which is charges 300 damage, equal to a super missile. That'll be nice to have. Not that we need it with the amount of ammo that we currently know that we have.
And more importantly, grants us logical access to that cape.
Alright, was good for a double, but just slightly off here. This is a good setup. And that is zagging him down.
And Bressingham finally headed towards that graveyard ledge, it looks like.
Alright, our final encounter with Ganon himself has a little advice for us. Or no, he's just about as close to vanilla as you can get. And yes, our tracker Ike here once again doing us a fantabulous service, finding us our 4th sword in the back of Skull Woods on Bressingham's side. Ganon's first 2 phases, 12 sword swipes each. And then 4 once he exits this Fire Bat phase. Taking a couple unfriendly hugs from Ganon there. At 10 hearts blue mail, this fight's a little bit on the trickier side. Definitely not something that our runners cannot handle.
Yeah, especially when they took the time both to get those silvers. It just saves them so much time.
This will be 4 shots and a done pig. Gets the torch snipe with the fire rod. A nice double, and that's 1 more, and
that is 1 roasted pig. Get your single G's in chat for Dragondarch.
Bressingham setting up for the icebreaker as he goes through Ice Palace, now having found his mitts.
Wow, he got that real quickly. That was very smooth.
We see 125-50 and then the Spazer charge combo. That is probably comfortable enough. The Dragondarch will take a refill just for convenience sake. Turn on the Ice Beam.
So looking back, it is unfortunate that bressinghamvoigt died during Bryn Loop during that and had to redo it at that Climb Supers location, but I still think, all things considered, would still be behind by a little bit, just because he went for a few extra locations on his Mitts hunt.
Yeah, we saw him go out of his way to check the X-ray location. He went back to Plasma because he hadn't routed it in the first time. And then he went and fully cleared out all of Swamp Palace and spent a little bit of time trying to get the diver down strats to do it. Now, Dragondarch here going to have a very easy time going through these Metroid rooms. And going it down with 48 supers, not an uncomfortable position to be in. We're going to turn off our suits to get a faster drain off the baby. This is going to be basically a no drain off the baby as...
Wow, yeah, that was a blink and you miss it drain.
Yeah, he damaged himself down all the way to 19 energy off that side hopper. I don't think I've ever seen anyone get that low when you're starting all the way up at 12. Very well done by Dragondarch. Good time save. Alright, setting to go ahead and just blast the Zebatites rather than skip through them with the Ice Beam. More than enough missiles to do so. Yeah, Tracy and chat pointing out one thing. A super missile will open a pink door, or a red door if you like to look at them as red. That a super is 300 damage, but the 5 missiles that you use to open the door, are they're 100 damage each, so strictly more efficient that way. So he has the equivalent of 57 supers in ammunition on hand. We'll take a few charge shots to finish off Mother Brain 2. She has 18,000 hit points, takes regular damage from super missiles, and throws a good slew of attacks at us here.
As said, the hamburgers, the onion rings, the French fries, the ketchup, whatever fast food terms you have.
The ketchup beam, as they call it. Just a few shots again. These will do 300 each.
And Bressingham also went mostly right first as well, did that compass room. But got the extra key afterwards, although since he's already got Tempered Sword, he's not going to burn that key as well.
Now, Dragondarch set up for a stand-up here, if he so chose. It's not going to be anywhere near as effective or efficient as having the Plasma Beam, but it could still shut a little bit of time off the end of this fight. Yeah, typically you're going to want Plasma Beam for this one. This is, it's only a third of the damage it would do if you had Plasma in place of the Spazer. Just a testament to how much stronger of a beam combo it is. Of course, we knew Plasma was on Aghanim's ledge. We weren't going to see it this run, other than that little glimpse hanging out there going, nah, nah. So this will only take a couple shots off the end of the fight here, but Hyper Beam usually does the work for us anyway.
Mother Brain is down, and now all we have left for Dragondarch is that escape sequence. 3 minutes to get off the planet.
Alrighty, and this should be a very comfortable escape for Dragondarch as well, with the speed booster that we had very early in this run, making these rooms quite trivial in comparison. Good old diagonal spark up this shaft. This is the one you gotta watch out for, but that was a beautiful entry. And just taking the vertical section up this climb shaft. Beautifully clean escape out of this exploding planet.
And yeah, don't get your hopes up. He is not going to save those animals. I would not.
When you're in a race and you feel behind, or even if you don't feel behind, you've got that tap on your shoulder that the done is coming. And with that, Dragondarch finishes with the official SRL time of 2 hours, 56 minutes, 35 seconds. He is going on to face Asder in the round of 8. GG, Dragondarch.
And Dragondarch is joining us in chat right now, so GG.
Thanks. I don't really know what to say about that seed other than I don't feel like I routed it the best. But I mean, I guess I just got lucky mitts or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it took bressinghamvoigt a while to get to those mitts at the end. What would you have done differently in your routing?
All right, I will point out that shortly after Dragondarch gave us a done, we did see a forfeit from Bressingham, and he will be joining us here in chat as well.
Hi.
Hello, Bressingham. GG.
Thanks, GG Dragondarch.
All right, boys. We had an interesting affair early on. Bressingham, you went ahead and did an early Brid loop and found pretty much everything you could have asked for at that point.
Yeah. I'll just say I felt amazing about this seed. Other than dying in Brinstar, I felt like I was on a super burner route. And basically just Graveyard Ledge was the last missing piece that I did everything else except for that.
Yeah, we saw you guys took completely different paths trying to find the second glove upgrade. Dragondarch, early on, you tempted yourself to dip into both Pendant Skull Woods and Pendant Swamp Palace, and then you just kind of dipped out.
Pendant Skull Woods is because I wanted that magic refill really badly, because I had run myself out going through Spike Cave, and then I wanted to go into Thieves Town, and with only 5 hearts and Fighter's Sword, Green Mail, it's like, if I get full magic, I can just use Burn on him, and I can at least make a check while I'm in there. Swamp Palace was me just forgetting to mark that Swamp Palace was a pendant and not a crystal, because I looked over and I saw a crystal on my tracker, and I'm like, okay, we'll go do Swamp, and then we'll combo that into Finishing Desert. And I walk into Swamp, and I hear the pendant music. I'm like, something's not right here. Let's step outside and see what I did wrong. And then I noticed it was the green pendant. I'm like, okay, let's do this later.
Well, luckily that isn't something you had to go back into. Bressingham, you went ahead and started dipping pendants, and you found a sword in the back of Skull Woods. That's something Dark was looking for going up the mountain.
Where was your temper, Dragondarch?
Mine was at the very end of Ganon's Tower. It was the chest right before Moldorm.
Nice.
Alright, so is there anything that either of you probably would have done differently in this seed, especially considering that rude location for the Mets?
I definitely, looking back, I should have pressed Mirror a little more. I mean, it like makes sense that the mitts were in Graveyard Ledge, really. I'm not really sure what to think of that, because I did so many other things. I was so convinced about Norfair, and then I started doing stuff to try and get ammo, because I had 10 supers and charge ice spazer. I don't know, I think I forgot that like mirror and flippers were like my farthest in logic items. Well, it's because I got space jump, mirror, flippers, and flute all at the same time. So I was trying to follow space jump to lower Norfair. I sort of overlooked that the mirror was in there too, I guess. I don't know. Also, would probably like to not have died trying to... That was a really stupid way to die, just forgetting about my... how much health you actually need to get through Shaft Super.
Yeah, Shaft Supers was, in a little bit of an unfortunate circumstance. To say something that Dragondarch found out, he went and checked Hookshot Cave again. He was looking for another sword on his way up to Ganon's Tower. Pressing that mirror, the lamp was in Hookshot Cave, logically.
Nice. I actually forgot I didn't have that.
So that location actually, it turns around what the game would have expected us to do for the playthrough. Of course, runners of your caliber don't necessarily need the lamp.
Yeah, no, we definitely didn't need that this time around. Also, I gotta give shoutouts to me realizing as I'm checking Ped that Ped couldn't have the mitts because Turtle Rock would have opened it.
Yeah, at that point, I think we all figured you were going into Skull Woods.
I was going to, and then as I thought about it, I'm like, I'm gonna have to go the back way to get around to the portal anyway. It's not that much farther to just check Ped. So I went up and checked Ped, and then I thought literally as I'm checking it, I'm like, wait a minute. Why did I just do that? Turtle Rock's blocking it. It can't be here. All right, let's go check Norfair. It has more items, and that Norfair was a complete bust.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that looked like a good idea. We saw both of you do Crocomire. We saw Bressingham actually did full clear Swamp Palace, and then went to Skullwoods before deciding it was on Graveyard Ledge. It's just a rather unfortunate position for an item like that to just hide away.
Yeah, that's kind of a really sort of a bad location in general. There's a I usually do that Dark World North route, like after Skullwoods, and I try to have the mirror and boots, and that's really the only time I ever have for Graveyard Ledge. So it's Skullwoods being a pendant. I just like put it off. That's 4 items. I said I'm not going to do that, and went to the 100 other item locations that had nothing. But yeah, that's a bad location.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that one. Unfortunately, that is the end of the line for your tournament, Bressingham. You have shown us a lot going forward here. Any plans moving ahead?
Just gonna watch the rest of the tournament. It's really exciting. Good luck to Dragondarch versus Azure and everyone. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate the community, all the volunteers a lot. It's great fun.
Thanks. Anything coming up on your stream that you want to promote?
Now that I'm free from the tournament, I'm gonna start SM speedruns, maybe. That's about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a good scene too. The Super Metroid community's got a lot going for it. There's a lot you can do both in and out of Rando.
And Dragondarch, what about you? Anything you're promoting, and any thoughts on Asger?
I have no delusions that I'm gonna beat Asger, but like I was barely expecting to make brackets going into this because I didn't feel like I only really play it like casually outside of this tournament. I really only played it casually with like just some friends or seeds that were posted in somebody's Discord. So I was barely expecting to make brackets, and I mean, even if I don't win the next match, I'd still call this a really good tournament for me because I mean I can't be disappointed making top 8. I cannot be disappointed making top 8. But I mean, in terms of, I don't really have anything to promote, honestly. I'm just a little amazed that I made it this far, honestly.
I mean, you should be proud of yourself. Both of you should be proud of yourselves for making it this far. Like, it's really not, it's not easy. There's a lot of really tough competition in this, and you've all done really well.
Yeah, with 95 entrants, and we're talking about, top 16, top 8. You two have shown us a lot here, and you should be proud. But yeah, GG. Wasn't the best seed in the world, but gave us one heck of a show. Yeah, anything else for our runners before we, let them go on their merry way, all cheese, no salt?
Only if you, either of you have any closing remarks.
Nope, I got nothing.
All right, well then, again, thank our runners. Be sure to give them a follow. Be sure to give my co-commentator and our wonderful tracker Ikira a follow. And stay tuned. There's, do you have the next races pulled up?
We only have one SMZ3 race still remaining on the schedule. That is Alucard 2004 and Apathy Duck. That will be Tuesday at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. As for anything else going on in the SpeedGaming Network, right now we are looking at a Link to the Past spoiler log tournament over on SpeedGaming 3. There is also Portal 2 over on 2. And I believe we've got a lot going on later this evening. More spoiler log, Super Mario Bros. 3 rando. Yeah, there's a lot to watch. Just keep your eyes open. All right, one last thank you to our runners. Give them a follow, of course. bressinghamvoigt and Dragondarch. GG to both of our talented players here today. A lot of thanks to Ikira for tracking in the background, keeping us honest, keeping our eyes open when we don't. And All Cheese No Sauce, my co-commentator for this race this afternoon. And of course, Rank 1 Global is a sponsor, and our Speed Gaming family for helping put on this content that we all enjoy.